personally really like that. I really like that. I think there's a lot of like beauty in that. You know, even the clouds, like when they're sort of gray, silver, and everything's glistening. I like that. I like that. So, yeah, hey, I thought about this Corpus Hermeticum stuff, and I tried a lot. I tried to talk about this, and I did a bunch of videos and didn't upload it because I'm afraid to tell anyone out there what to think, because I hate that. I hate it. And you have to be very careful, and some people, you know, for example, I met someone at work that's like very religious, very like a specific kind of Christianity. Like there are a couple, I don't know all the Christian like categories, but yeah, that it was definitely Christian, and I realized that, I mean, I like her a lot, and I think she has like found valuable stuff in there, but it's sort of when she talks about it freely and uses her language for that, it's difficult because you have to sort of translate it on the spot, you know, for yourself, and that can be difficult, and I don't always get it right, I guess. Or I notice that when I respond and I sort of want to talk about how I see it, I can see that, well, she probably has difficulty translating that into her language that she has for her spirituality. And yeah, I really don't want to give off this vibe to you, you know, that you sort of go like, oh, this confuses me, this is sort of annoying and stuff. And actually, I'm reminded about it. I read this about the Islamic, the Muslim, Islam, right? That's the religion. I read somewhere that for a long, long time that was only like a verbal, one-on-one conversation, sort of like that's how this religion was practiced. That just people talked about it, and I think, yeah, I read that they didn't want it to be written down for a very long time because that would be dangerous. I think I read something about it along those lines, like that it would be foolish to try to encapsulate it into like a book, into like static words, something like that. I thought that was very wise. That said, I read many texts that I really love, and you know, that spoke to me. So I guess in this sort of sense, I'm gonna just tell you what I found, what spoke to me, what sort of got me, how it resonated with me, I guess. And I'm gonna just try to do that and not be too much, you know. I'm trying not to be preachy about it. So, well, I guess I should start with, well, as a kid, I always thought about this stuff, you know. I like to think about philosophical stuff, or, you know, I remember my grandmother once told me, you know, like this thought experiment, you know. She said, when you drop a baseball, or a baseball, was it baseball? Like, no, a tennis ball. When you drop that, you know, it bounces off, it loses some of its height, bounces again, bounces again, bounces again. When does it really stop? You know, it always loses a little bit of its trajectory, but when is the point when it really stops? And I thought, and it got me going. I thought, this is so incredible. thought experiments, and a lot of these, like, when you realize something, when you get to a certain truth that just feels true, that just, and even that, those are the wrong words, honestly. But it's sort of maybe not, you know what I mean, when you sort of, you get to, you when you say something wise, it sort of feels like when I'm writing and I'm writing a really great scene, it's sort of like, where did that come from? That's exactly what it should be. That's the right thing. That's what it is, That's sort of what it is with these wise things. Or when I, as a kid, like, thought about this tennis ball, and got to this point where, this is incredible. I guess it never stops, And of course you doubt yourself a bit and stuff, but anyway, like this was very interesting to me always. And I thought about many more things, like knowledge, for example. I remember that as a kid, I don't want to boast or anything, but I said as a kid, as a joke, like, I know that I don't know anything. I know that I don't know anything. And that loop made me smile. And then later on I figured out that it was a really famous saying of someone famous that I can't remember now. Sorry for that. I don't want to take credit for that. But I didn't know about that as a kid. I revived that conclusion by just playing with thoughts, And yeah, and so it was with this like Hermetic tradition thing. It's sort of, I just, by really being on YouTube and surfing the algorithm and sort of looking up stuff that I was interested in, which I guess back then it was like Terence McKenna, and he said something about Giordano Bruno and the Hermetic tradition, and he read this book, which is called Giordano Bruno and the Hermetic tradition, and just the way he talked about it, I thought like that sounds interesting. And then I picked up the book, and I thought like, this isn't really about Giordano Bruno, is it? And I got to the halfway point, and then it started to be about Giordano Bruno. The whole book it's 2 parts. The first part is just about the time, and it's amazing. Like I thought like, oh wow, it's about the Renaissance time, and I didn't know much about it. And in school, it sounded boring, Renaissance. What's that? Sounds French. I don't like the French, but it's actually really interesting. And I mean, the French are also interesting. I'm just joking. Sometimes. Anyway, and I learned about that. I mean, the book seats you in this time that's incredible. I mean, there are so many parallels to this time actually we're in right now, because there are so many ideas floating around right now, and it's a good thing. And but also there was the Inquisition around, back at that time. That's a bad thing. And I guess the parable to that would be all the censorship going on right now. Like, I don't want to go too much into politics, but I think you know what I mean. And anyway, I thought this was a fascinating time, and then this Giordano Bruno guy came up, and the Hermetic tradition and all of that, and what he wanted to do with it. He basically wanted to revolutionize the church, which was, I mean, basically the world, the Western world back then. They controlled everything. And I mean, yeah, I thought it was such a cool thing. He wanted to open up the church. He wanted every religion to basically have a seat and have a conversation about the really big questions in a sort of more open forum. I immediately thought about Hogwarts for some reason. I thought like, that would have been like this place, if, let's say, universities would have been born out of that, and you would have just had universities to talk about theology, basically. That would have been my university. That would have been my Hogwarts. Anyway, and yeah, I thought it was. I grabbed a bunch of other books like the Asclepius. I'm gonna link it in the description, and the Corpus Hermeticum. And right now I'm going through the Kybalion, which is also an audiobook on YouTube. I'm listening to that, and just surrounding myself with these thoughts felt incredible. It felt like this joyous thing I had as a child, because it feels like there's so much to discover. It feels like it's open. It doesn't. I mean, sometimes it does, but it also reminds you that language is clunky, and really, there are text passages in there that say, "Hey, what I just said, sounds pretty good, but it's not perfect, and it never will be. Words are clunky, think about it, and then you say what do you think about it, And I think that's so healthy. That's so healthy, because I hate when sort of religions, or I wouldn't even categorize this as a religion, but more like as a frame of mind to wrap your head around, like many of these spiritual thoughts, whatever it is, like astrology, tarot, occult stuff, or different religions, mythology, whatever it is, like stories. In general, yeah, people, whatever. It really, and it intersects with science in interesting ways. And I'm getting ahead of myself. Where was I? Yeah, I read all of those, and I'm in the process, and I resonate with it. And the funny thing is, it's sort of in the introduction to one of these books, it's written that this stuff will find you if you're ready for it. You will come across, and that's sort of how it was, with that algorithm thing. And then I thought back at all the questions I always asked myself, and I had sort of like, I don't know, it felt so right. It felt so logical, or honest. It felt honest, that's the right word, to intersect with this school of thought that's basically, thousands of years old and really interesting. Its origins are, Egyptian, maybe older, and how, like, I see so many parallels to other religions, and sort of, there's a part over there from it, and there's a part, and that's an interesting idea. That's sort of like, it just, I feel like, yeah, my thoughts are coming together, and I had this, like, that's not the right word, whatever, that's fine, I'm gonna try again, but yeah, it resonated with me, and, I guess, to give you an example of some of the, well, I guess that's a good resonance, is one of these things that's discussed in there, that sort of everything has first of all, nothing's ever still, everything's moving, meaning everything has a rhythm, a vibration to it. That's also what I mean by it intersects with science, that's sort of a proven thing also, that basically everything is energy, and it has a certain frequency and a certain vibration to it. And I just think it's amazing that this language that's 10,000 years old already arrived at that conclusion. And yeah, I'm still reading it. I'm still finding out where it originated. Like, I think I see so many ties to certain, like, theories about the origins of humans, basically. Where, lost civilizations and stuff. Anyway, to get back to those examples, this resonance thing, also dualism, that everything has like a duality to it, that everything, when you say something that's true, there's always like the counterpart to it, you know, and that sort of bothered me for a long time because I was so, you know, interested in the truth, and I always felt like, man, that's so annoying. Every time I arrive at what I think is true, I get to a certain event in my life where the opposite is true. So what is it now, you know? And sort of, but with this frame of mind, you can see that, oh, it depends on, you know, the certain whatever situation you're in, and it depends on, well, the different, well, what's the right word? I wanted to say like frequency you're in, but yeah, whatever, you get the point. Or, I mean, I guess the first principle is one that I actually already did a video on, sort of, which was this panpsychism idea, which is a scientific idea that everything has consciousness in it, because science is still, you know, trying to figure out what consciousness is and where it comes from and stuff. And the first, you know, a principle, I guess, in this Hermetic tradition is this principle of mentalism. That, how does it say it? All is mind. You know, all is mind. Everything is sort of, which, I mean, I translate into my words. You know, I play with it, and I think you should. You know, I think these texts sort of promote that, you know, think about it, find your own words. And yeah, all is mind to me says this, everything is consciousness, you know. And that can be quite difficult to wrap your head around, and actually I think right now there's this, hang on, I'm gonna do it, let that sink in, I'm gonna make a trick, I'm gonna do a trigger. All is mind, let that sink in for a moment. So all is mind, that sort of, to me, intersects with, or let's say the half-truth of this intersects with this belief that we're living in a simulation, that nothing is real, all of that stuff, this sort of like derivative view of reality, and that's a half-truth. That's very important to know. That's not all of it, because now you're basically saying all is your mind. Do you hear the difference? All is mind is the Hermetic principle, you know, in English, in a clunky language. I mean a cool language, but language is clunky. You know, I guess we could still find, you know, we have to probably invent new words, I guess. Anyway, all is mind, you know. The belief that we are living in a simulation is basically the belief that everything is happening in your mind. So all is my mind, all is your mind. That's not it. You know, think about the all is mind, really. Like, all is mind, okay. I'm mind, you're mind. Okay, we interact, and I mean, for me, instantly, I'm relaxed a bit. I think like, oh, the world I'm interacting with isn't that like, I don't know, it feels less dangerous, even though I know like there are real dangers out there, and there's like, I can touch this, they're like, you know, I can't just walk through the wall, but, you know, I may try it one day. Anyway, that's not the point. Like, you interact with it with your consciousness, you know. That's an actual force, and everything is that force. Now it sounds like Star Wars, but I guess there's a reason why that stuff is so popular, you know. it sort of speaks to something deep inside of you. That's what I believe, and I'm getting to know these principles more, and I said I wanted to do this series about these principles. I'm gonna let that sink in for me as well, because I don't want you to tell what to think. I just want to sort of present what I'm thinking about and let you think about it, and then you can think it back, and I can, like sort of a conversation or something. I don't know. But maybe I'll do that. I hope this video sort of didn't tell you what to think, but sort of just told you what I think and what resonates with me. So, yeah. I think this is a good slice of this Hermetic tradition, and how it's really very interesting, but if I go deeper into it, I'm gonna explode into so many different areas that I don't think I can keep track. It's really vast. So, but also really, I feel like when I read this stuff, I understand it in a fundamental way. I understand it before I intellectualize it. Difficult to explain. Yeah, it's sort of a vibe that I, resonate with, I guess. So, whatever, but I spoke about this in my Asian cinema video, actually. If you're in the mood for this stuff, look into it. If you're not, leave it be. That's the best advice I can give you, If you're in the mood to look up Northern mythology, do that. Or Greek, or whatever, or no make up your own, do that. I think that's important to sort of follow what you resonate with. Which is also in the Hermetic tradition, it's also all of that stuff sort of, I don't know, it felt great when I found this. I really can't understate that. I don't know. It felt like when I watched Mad Max Fury Road, I thought this guy, I get this guy, I think we speak the same language, that's what I felt, honestly. And some of her friends thought what, he thinks he's friends with George Miller, the famous Australian director that made a 250 million budget movie. He's a bit strange, huh? But you know what? I just meant I resonate with this so much that I get it. I can't immediately tell you why or how, but I understand this language, and this is how I felt about this when I found it. I'm still discovering it. All these principles, they're I guess 7, resonance and duality, gender is in there, and mentalism, and look into it if I pique your interest. If not, I don't know, watch something else. I don't know, that's fine. So, okay, I'll leave you be. I'll shut up, and go to bed, honestly. And then I'll talk more about, when I discover something about this, or maybe I'll do the principle thing, but we'll see. Alright. Bye.